What's up, people, and happy Friday. Welcome to the week 2 summary where we're going to talk about all the main and important things that we learned throughout this week's math lessons. So to start us off, this whole week was talking about parallelograms. So we have our definition here, which is parallelograms are quadrilaterals, meaning it has four sides. The opposite sides are parallel. Also true that the opposite sides are equal. So if you look at the opposite, meaning not next to sides, they have equal lengths. And then the opposite angles also have equal measures. So if you see the opposite sides and the opposite angles, they're always going to be equal. The other thing that we talked about is how to find the area of a parallelogram. We started off by decomposing, rearranging, and then composing them to then take what we know about parallelograms, cutting them up and making them into a rectangle, not really mattering where you cut, but once you created this rectangle, then just doing length times width to find the area. So a couple of things though, after we found out that, yeah, we could cut this up and make it into a rectangle, we started talking about these ideas of base and height. With a parallelogram, there are four sides, and any of them really could be chosen as what we call the base. So it's easy to find the base because we can just choose one of the sides we want to work with. Now, the difficult part is finding the height. The height has to be perpendicular to the base that we chose, meaning it has to create a 90-degree angle. You see this little box tells us that it's a 90-degree angle to this line here. So in this first one, we chose the bottom here as the base, so 6 is our base. And then any of these lines that kind of show the distance from the base to the opposite side, as long as it's perpendicular, is our height. Same thing here, if we chose this same parallelogram, but let's choose the base as this right side where it's 5, well, the height just has to be perpendicular going to the opposite side. In these two things here, we have the exact same parallelogram. You notice if we choose 6 as the base and we were to use our rearrange method, we would cut off a triangle, move it over to the left side here, and create our rectangle, which is 6 by 4. If we did it with the other one here, we, again, just cut off this triangle, move it over, and now we have 5 by 4.8. These are the same parallelogram, but we chose two different bases. Now, if we start using what we learned about our new formula for finding the area of a parallelogram, we can just take the base and multiply it by the height. Again, these are the same parallelogram, meaning they should have the same area. So if we would do 6 times 4, we'd end up getting 24 square units. Then, if we chose the other one, we'd do 5 times 4.8. If you did that one there, you'd end up also getting 24 square units, which just shows us that it doesn't matter which side we choose for the base, we just need to make sure to label the correct height accordingly. Couple of specific things about the base and the height. The base has to be a side, doesn't matter which one, but we usually choose the base first, then we can find the height according to which base we chose. The height is always perpendicular. And so in this case here, when we choose a base, let's say the base here is the bottom, well then we have to choose one of the lines that is perpendicular to it to create our height. If we were to choose the one on the right, where the base is on the right side, well, the height has to be perpendicular to that one as well. So in this case here, it doesn't necessarily matter which is the base that is chosen, the height just has to be perpendicular to it. A couple of different things when we're finding the area of a parallelogram. There's two different times that we do this. One when it's on a grid, and the second when it's not. The one on the grid here, usually when we're trying to find the base, we want to choose one of the lines for the base that's on the grid. Because I know all the grid lines are going to be perpendicular to each other, it makes it super simple to choose a base and then a corresponding height. If you see on the right here, I'm going to choose the left side as the base because it's on the grid line. That way the height can be on the grid and we can just count, okay, the base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the height is 1, 2, 3, 4. So choosing the base on the grid lines is going to be super helpful going forward. When we don't have a grid line, we have to choose the two lines that are perpendicular perpendicular to each other. If you notice, we have a 10 added into the parallelogram at the bottom, which we technically aren't going to be using. We could choose 10 as the base, but we don't have a line that is perpendicular to it. So I'm going to choose 8 as the base, and then see the perpendicular line as the height, which is also 8. So you would ignore that number 10. That's it for the weekly summary for week 2. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out, shoot me an email. Otherwise, be good to each other, and I'll talk to you all soon.